What would you do if you went from earning pocket money to suddenly swimming in millions before your 22nd birthday? Would you buy the flashiest car in Spain, build your dream mansion, or blow it all in a single wild night on some Mediterranean island? Or would you do something nobody expects? Carlos Alcaraz, tennis's new superstar, has turned his wildest childhood dreams into cold, hard cash. But what he's done with his first millions is going to shock you. From luxury escapes that nobody sees on Instagram to jaw-dropping gifts for his hometown, and one emotional surprise that left all of El Palmar in tears. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on how Carlos Alcaraz, at just 22 years old, spends money like no other sports star on earth. And there's one thing he buys, in total secrecy, that will have you rethinking everything you know about tennis royalty. Stick around, because what you're about to hear next will change the way you see Spain's king of the court forever. The unbelievable rise from dusty courts to a fortune. Let's rewind this story, not to a billionaire's mansion or a private jet, but to a cramped, sun-baked suburb called El Palmar. This is where the legend of Carlos Alcaraz begins, not with trophies and champagne, but with a tiny apartment, home-cooked meals, and a public tennis court that looked like it might crumble any second. Imagine a little boy, barely taller than his racket, sneaking out at 4 years old, obsessed with the game. Neighbors would shake their heads as he hit ball after ball into the dusk. Even the local kids called him crazy. But his father, once a top Spanish junior himself, saw something different, a fire in his son's eyes. Carlos wasn't born with privilege. He didn't have private coaches or custom gear. He wore hand-me-down sneakers and learned to play on cracked concrete. Yet from the start, he played with a reckless, attacking style that made people stop and stare. By age 12, he was the talk of Spanish youth tennis. By 16, the media was calling him the next Nadal, and the world's best coaches were taking notice. Fast forward to 2022, Carlos explodes onto the world stage. He's the youngest man in history to become world number one. By 2025, his legend is cemented. 2 Wimbledon trophies, 2 US Open titles, and more than $50 million richer. Yet, with all that, he never forgot where he came from, or who helped him get there. First big check. Is he just another rich athlete? With every slam, Carlos's bank account skyrocketed. By 2025, he had earned over $35 million in prize money before endorsements. His image was suddenly everywhere. Nike, Babolat, Rolex, Calvin Klein, BMW, and a wave of Spanish brands clamored for his face. Sponsorships pushed his net worth past $50 million, making him one of the wealthiest athletes under 25 in the world. The world expected him to spend big and go wild. Flashy cars, penthouses, yacht parties. Just another superstar story, right? Not even close. Here's the first twist. The very first thing Carlos did with his millions wasn't buy a car or a luxury watch. He went home. On a humid summer morning in El Palmar, Carlos's family woke to see him holding a set of keys and a smile so wide it could outshine the Spanish sun. He'd bought them their dream house, 3 stories, a sun-filled garden, and, most important, a brand new tennis court where he could train with his father and brothers. But inside, in the living room, sat their battered old couch. "That's where we watched every match," Carlos explained. "That's where I dreamed this would all start. Home is where the heart and millions are." That house was just the beginning. Carlos used his winnings to pay for his brother's college education. One now studies sports science, the other is building a tennis academy for underprivileged kids in Murcia. When his family wanted to travel to tournaments, Carlos booked the tickets, no matter the cost. Even childhood friends and his old coach got invites to Wimbledon and the US Open. Family, for Carlos, is everything. But his spending wasn't about flexing. It was about gratitude, about lifting up the people who never stopped believing in him. Every big win meant a family celebration. A homemade feast in his abuela's kitchen, friends crowding around the garden, the sound of laughter and old Spanish songs laid into the night. No champagne fountains or red carpets, just Carlos with the people who matter most. Carlos's shocking splurges and the secret he hides. Okay, let's talk about the side most fans never see. Carlos's wildest purchases. Like any 22-year-old with a bottomless bank account, Carlos loves his toys. In 2024, he finally bought his dream car, a Porsche 911 Turbo S, matte blue, just like the poster he had taped to his wall as a boy. The Spanish tabloids went wild, but Carlos rarely brings it out except for scenic drives along the Costa Calida. For tournaments, he still drives his old BMW X5. "It's lucky," he laughs, "and it fits all my rackets." Then there's his watch collection. Every milestone marked by a different Rolex, including a Daytona gifted after his first US Open win. Yet in day-to-day life, he's almost always spotted in a basic black fitness band. No flashy flexing, no Instagram show-offs. Carlos's Madrid apartment, yes, he bought one in the exclusive Salamanca district, stays off the grid. No gold-plated bathrooms or party penthouses. Instead, it's a quiet haven for rest, family, and training, filled with framed photos, journals, and the simplest kitchen you can imagine. He's not interested in the Ibiza yacht scene or endless clubbing. Carlos's real escapes are secret trips to Mallorca to train with Rafael Nadal, or hiking with friends in the Basque country, always with a baseball cap pulled low to hide from cameras. He built a private pool for his little cousins back home in El Palmar. For him, happiness means peace, not parties. But let's pause. If you woke up to $20 million at 22, would you really be sneaking back to your hometown for pizza and PlayStation? Or is Carlos hiding a secret luxury that not even his biggest fans have guessed? Surprises, hobbies, and giving back. The Alcaraz way. Carlos might be a global celebrity, but at heart, he's still a regular guy. His favorite splurge? Building the ultimate gaming setup for himself and his best friends. Ultra-wide monitors, VR headsets, and every FIFA game ever made. After each win, Carlos and his crew host marathon pizza nights at their favorite local spot. The same hole-in-the-wall place he's loved since he was a kid. No fancy rooftop lounges, just the triple cheese special and endless laughter. But here's what's really jaw-dropping. Carlos spends more on gifts for others than on himself. He's bought new rackets and shoes for young local players who can't afford gear. He paid for his old coach's family trip to Barcelona. He once covered surgery for a sick fan he met after a match. No publicity, just kindness. Every year, Carlos treats the neighborhood kids to a day at Spain's biggest amusement park, paying for everything from tickets to churros. He's obsessed with gadgets, drones, GoPros, and a custom-built VR tennis simulator for training at home. He's not above being silly. For his little cousin's birthday, Carlos hired a magician and served as the official balloon artist. His friends say he's generous to a fault, never letting anyone else pay for a meal, and always dropping by with surprise gifts. The foundation that no one saw coming. Carlos's heart doesn't stop at his own family. In 2023, he quietly launched the Alcaraz Foundation, a project few outside of Murcia knew about until the Spanish media caught wind. Its goal? Give every kid a chance at sport, no matter their family's income. The foundation has donated thousands of rackets, rebuilt tennis courts, and covered travel costs for talented players whose parents struggle to pay the bills. In 2024, after record floods wiped out El Palmar's main tennis center, Carlos wrote a check for €500,000, enough to rebuild, reopen, and even expand the facilities for the next generation. Every year, he hosts an open day at his academy. Kids play for free, meet their idol, and sometimes beat him in a friendly match. When an 8-year-old beat Carlos in front of a cheering crowd, he handed her his own racket on the spot, whispering, "Promise me you'll use it to win." Dozens of local kids have received scholarships from the foundation to study or train anywhere in Europe. No strings attached, just a handshake and the hope they'll pay it forward someday. The millionaire who doesn't act rich. But here's what really sets Carlos apart. Even with millions, he lives with discipline. Carlos meets with a financial advisor every month to track every deal, every expense. He refuses to fly private jets to tournaments, telling reporters, "Why waste money when it could help someone else?" He has no yacht, no army of assistants, no vacation homes in Monaco or Miami. His single biggest investment in 2025? Building a private clay court in Murcia, open to any local kid who wants to train free of charge. Carlos is famous for leaving giant tips at restaurants, sometimes paying more than the bill itself. He's known to show up at his old primary school, bringing books, equipment, and stories to inspire the next class. Coaches say he's the first to help set up nets and collect balls at his home academy. He could live anywhere in the world, but he chooses to stay in El Palmar, close to his roots, never forgetting the village that raised him. And what about that secret spending habit? Every Christmas, Carlos finds families in Murcia who are struggling. Lost jobs, lost homes, no hope. Quietly, without ever seeking credit, he pays off their debts, fills their fridges, and leaves enough for a fresh start. Sometimes these families never even find out who their benefactor was. For Carlos Alcaraz, the real meaning of wealth isn't the car he drives or the trophies in his cabinet. It's lifting up the people who helped him rise and making sure no child in his town ever feels left behind. Now here's the question. If you woke up tomorrow to $20 million in your account, what would you do? Would you buy a Ferrari, a luxury mansion, or maybe do something that nobody expects? Drop your dream buy in the comments below. Hit that like button, subscribe for more untold stories from the world's brightest sports stars. And remember, sometimes the strongest flex is simply giving back. Who should we reveal next? The secrets of Coco Gauff? The hidden life of Iga Swiatek? Let us know and see you in the next video.